In this video, I'm going to go over evaluating and operations with absolute value functions. So please make sure this is the sheet that you're looking at in front of you. So evaluating and operations. So we're going to go over how to evaluate absolute value functions, and then we'll be able to explain how to do that using the stem substitute blank and for blank. So I want us to recall first that the domain is all of the x values and the range is all of the y values. And remember that the x-intercept is where the crosses, or where the graph or the line crosses the x-axis. And the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So take a minute and copy that if you need to. So this first example is one where they're asking you for y-intercept. So for y-intercept, remember x equals 0. So here we're going to be substituting 0 in for x, because remember they gave you the ordered pair x comma y. So we're substituting in 0 for x. So 0 is in the x spot. So I have absolute value of 2x plus 2 equals y. So absolute value of 2x plus 2 equals y. So when I plug in 0 for x, I'm going to do 2 times 0, plus 2 equals y. Then 2 times 0 is 0, so this just goes away. So I get absolute value of 2 equals y. So remember, absolute value is telling you distance from 0. So the absolute value of 2 is 2, because 2 is 2 units from 0. So 2 is my y value. So I'm going to write my answer as an ordered pair, just like we did earlier this year. The ordered pair would be 0, comma 2. So this is the ordered pair for that one, 0, comma 2. The next example is a y-intercept. So remember, ordered pairs are x comma y, and they give you the y. So I'm substituting 0 in for y. So I'm going to write absolute value of 2x plus 2 equals 0. So to solve this one, we're just going to remove the parentheses because this says equals 0. So when your absolute value says equals 0, then you can just remove the parentheses and set it equal to 0. So we're going to solve this for x. So we're going to draw the line, subtract 2 from both sides. So I get 2x equals negative 2. Divide both sides by 2. So x equals negative 1. So my ordered pair, remember it's x comma y, so I found x is negative 1 and y was 0. So my ordered pair is negative 1, comma 0. So pause the video if you need to finish that one. So graphically, to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, remember x-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis. So here's my x. So my x, I'm going to abbreviate intercept as INT. So I'm looking on my x-axis, where does this line cross the x-axis? So here is 1, and here is another. So what are those x values? So those are x equals 2 and x equals 5. So those are my x-intercepts. Remember, for the y-intercept, it's asking where's your graph cross the y-axis. So here's the y-axis right here. This is the y. So if we look at the blue graph, it has an arrow over here. It goes on forever. It would cross right here at y equals 4. So it would be y equals 4. So just remember, we usually like to write the y-intercept as an ordered pair. So we usually like to write that as 0, 4. So this is the answer for the y-intercept. You write an ordered pair, 0, comma 4. The x-intercepts, you can leave them like this. X equals 2 and x equals 5. Next example, we're substituting values in. So remember, they give you an ordered pair, x comma y. So I have absolute value of x divided by 4 minus 3 equals y. So this time I'm given an x value. So we're going to substitute 4 in for x. So this will be absolute value of x divided by 4 minus 3 equals y. So this will be 4 divided by 4 minus 3 equals y. Well, we know 4 divided by 4 is 1. So 1 minus 3 equals y. 1 minus 3, that's negative 2. So this is the absolute value of negative 2. So absolute value measures distance from 0. So the absolute value, if you have a negative inside, since you're measuring distance, it's going to take a negative number inside and make it positive, because distance is always positive. You never say, you never talk about negative distance. So here, the absolute value of the absolute value of negative 2 is just positive 2. And then the absolute value. So let's go ahead and write this as an ordered pair. So my x value here was 4, and so my y value is 2. So 4 comma 2. That's my answer for that one. So this one is similar. So you're going to substitute. So remember, you get x comma y. This says absolute value of x divided by 4 minus 3 equals y. So again, you're substituting 2 in for x. So this will be 2 divided by 4 minus 3 equals y. So this is going to be 1/2 minus 3 equals y. So 1/2 minus 3 is negative 2.5 equals y. So remember, when you have absolute value, when you have a negative inside, it's going to take the negative and make it positive. So it's going to be 2.5 equals y. But don't forget, we write our answer as an ordered pair. So this will be the ordered pair 2 comma 2.5. This example, so absolute value of negative 2x plus y equals 9. So again, you have an ordered pair, x comma y. This time they give you a y value. So the y value that they gave you is 1. So we're going to substitute 1 in for y. So this is the absolute value of negative 2x plus y equals 9. So I'm going to substitute 1 in for y. So this will be absolute value of negative 2x plus 1 equals 9. Now, to solve this, first I'm going to get the absolute value by itself. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides, because the plus 1 is not inside the absolute value. So this will be absolute value of negative 2x equals 8. Now, with absolute values, the way that you solve them is you make two problems. So the first problem is going to be negative 2x equals 8. So really just removing the absolute value sign. And then the second problem is going to be negative 2x equals negative 8. So the difference here is we're just making the number negative. So this is my two equations, and I'm just going to solve each of these. So I'm going to solve by dividing by 2 here, or negative 2 rather. So I get x is negative 4. But now the other one, notice I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2 again. So this gets me x equals 4. So my solutions are x is 4 or x is negative 4. So those are the two solutions. So any of the additional ones I didn't go over, we will discuss those during the live meet. So if you have a copy of that note sheet, we'll go over the rest of those during the live meet.